Emergency fund, and more emergency fund. What's up, 23% Nation? Coach D is back. And guys, today I am extremely happy, excited, and full of enthusiasm. Now, some of you may be wondering why. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to discuss money, but specifically, we're going to talk about where and how we should perhaps begin to save our money. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, Coach D, you shouldn't be so emotionally tied to money. Well, I said that I was excited. I said that I was full of enthusiasm, right? Well, think about it this way. Most people are emotionally attached to money. Here's a quick test. Think about if someone gave you $1 million, how would you feel? Probably very elated. Well, now think about how would you feel if someone went into your bank account and stole all of your money? You probably would be pretty upset. So if you get excited, if you get upset when it comes to money, then yes, we're pretty much all the same. Most people are emotionally attached to money. So ladies and gentlemen, today, let's take out some of the emotion and let's replace that with logic. And that way we can perhaps improve our financial wellness. So without any further ado, Coach D is going to talk about an emergency fund. That's right, guys. Today we're going to talk about an emergency fund, but more importantly, we're going to answer the question, why do I need one? So without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right in. All right. Guys, before we get into the meat of this lecture, shall we say, or of the talk, all right, I want to let you guys know that this particular concept of an emergency fund has been truly and dearly inspired by none other than Susie Orman. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to a wonderful woman who has definitely helped me on my financial journey. So some of you may be wondering, well, who in the world is Susie Orman? I've never heard of her before. She must not be important. Well, guys, today I want to let you know that Susie Orman is very important. Check it out, guys. She's an American author. She's a financial advisor. She's a motivational speaker, and she's a television host. Now, if at any point you are interested in finding out more about Susie Orman, which I hope you are, then you can always go to her website. It's susieorman.com. Again, susieorman.com. Please go check it out. I know for a fact that she can almost certainly help you out. All right, we digress, but now let's get back on track. So now the question is, what is an emergency fund? Okay, well, very simply, guys, an emergency fund is a savings account. That's right. So let's not get it twisted. Let's not get confused, guys. First and foremost, an emergency fund is a savings account, but it's a special type of savings account. It's one that is very unique. And so let's talk about why it's unique. Well, it's used to set aside funds to be used in an emergency. Now notice, ladies and gentlemen, that the key word is emergency. Okay? So now that we know what an emergency fund is and what its purpose is, let's talk about some types of financial emergencies, shall we? All right, so now this begs the question, Coach D, what is a financial emergency? Well, let me tell you what it's not first, okay? It's not you wanting to go buy a new dress for a big party. It's not you wanting to go purchase a video game because you're bored. It's not you wanting to go purchase a brand new pair of shoes because you just saw a commercial on television. No, it's not for any of those things. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of an emergency fund is just that. It's for an emergency. So if perhaps you lose your job, if you have any type of unexpected medical or dental expenses. If you have any type of unexpected home repairs, let's say your toilet goes out, your sink gets clogged up, your roof caves in, okay? It's also for car trouble. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Coach D knows a thing or two about having car trouble. I've had my radiator go out, my transmission went bad, my my starter sometimes wouldn't start. So I've had my fair share of car issues. And last but not least, an emergency fund can be used for unplanned travel expenses. Now, me being a college professor, I know all too often that students have to travel for a funeral. That's right, guys. We almost never know when death is going to arrive into our lives. So, in the event you have to travel unexpectedly because a family member or perhaps a close friend just passed away, then you need to have money on hand so that you can attend the funeral. So I hope that answers your question as to what a financial emergency is all about. Okay, so Coach D, I get it, right? I need an emergency fund just in case somebody dies, just in case my roof caves in, right? Just in case I break a leg, okay? But now, what are the benefits? I really am interested in doing this, but I need to know the benefits. Okay, well, guys, don't fret, don't worry. Coach D is here and I'm going to help you out. So, check it out. An emergency fund keeps your stress level low. That's right, guys, it keeps it down. Now, here's the thing. We as people normally stress about, I would say about three things. Number one would be money. Number two would be our health. And number three is probably family. Those are probably the three sources of our greatest stress. So, wouldn't it be a great idea if we never ever have to stress about money? The world would be perfect, right? Well, being that the world is not perfect, okay, not at all, we need to be prepared. That's right, guys. So having an emergency fund will help keep your stress levels very, very low. The second benefit, it keeps you from spending on a whim. Now, today, I'm going to let you know exactly where you should keep this emergency fund. But ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say this, that it's important, number one, to have the emergency fund. But what's even more important, it's that it is not all that readily available. Because chances are, if you have the money saved up, then you just might spend it on something that is not an emergency. So let's say that you see a cruise being advertised on television or perhaps online, and you really, really, really want to go. Well, you may think, man, I got the money in my emergency fund, so I'll just take out two, three, four, $5,000 to pay for that cruise. Not a good idea. Okay. And the last benefit that I want to discuss is that it keeps you from borrowing money. Guys, I can't tell you how often money ruins relationships, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with a family member, or whether it's with some type of financial institution. Now, some people may say that money is the root of all evil. Now, I highly disagree with that statement, but for people whose relationships have been ruined by money, they may agree with that statement. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest benefits of having an emergency fund is that it prevents you from borrowing. That's right, guys. So there are predatory companies out there who love to lend money at extremely high interest rates, along with some other fees that they may tack on. So believe it or not, having an emergency fund not only prevents you from borrowing money, but it also prevents you from going further and further into debt. That's right, guys. So I hope these benefits will help motivate you to start saving up for that all-important emergency fund. Okay, so Coach D, I'm totally convinced, right? So how much do I need? Okay, well, let's talk about it. Going back to what Susie Orman says, okay, is that guys, we need to save up anywhere from 3 to 8 months worth of living expenses. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, your emergency fund at any point in time should have anywhere from 3 to 8 months worth of living expenses in it. So what does that mean, Coach D? Okay, well, let's talk about it. Now, I've written down a few of our probably most common bills because when we talk about living expenses, really what we're talking about are our monthly bills. So if we look at the average person probably has the following bills. You probably have a rent or a mortgage. You probably have a car note or car payment. And if you have a car, especially if it's a new car, then you probably have car insurance, okay? We almost all have a light bill, a cell phone bill, an internet bill, and why don't we throw in a cable bill, okay? So now let's say that all of your bills total up to about $2,000 per month. Now, for some people, that figure may be a little low. For others, it may be a little high. And for others, I may have just hit the nail right on the head. But obviously, your numbers will fluctuate. But I wanted to use a number that's nice and round and a number that most people can identify with. So again, let's say that your total monthly expenses equate to $2,000 per month. So what that means is that in your emergency fund, which needs to have 3 to 8 months, that means that in total, you should have 3 times 2,000, which is now $6,000, and now 8 times 2,000, which is $16,000. So that means that at any point in time, you should have anywhere from 6 to 8, $6 to $16,000 in that account at any given time. Now, that may seem like a lot of money to a lot of people, but don't worry. We must remember the golden rule of saving because I understand that most people don't have that money on tap. Most people aren't liquid. So if you are not liquid, meaning you don't have the cash readily available, let's begin to save. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You know Coach D is all about saving. So check it out. The golden rule of saving is to save 10% of your monthly income. Now, if you don't want to do monthly, you could do yearly, as long as it's 10%. So if, let's say, your take-home income is $2,000 per month, then 10% of that is simply $200. That's it. So in other words, is that if you do not currently have 3 to 8 months worth of living expenses already saved up for your emergency fund, is that we can begin to make steps today to begin saving only 10% of our daily, monthly, or even yearly income. So once again, the golden rule is 10%. Okay, so I hope that helps you out. Okay, now Coach D, I got it. I need it. Okay, but now where do I keep it? Okay, well guys, there are many places where you can establish your emergency fund. Check it out. You can do an online savings account, which by the way, banks, especially online banks, are becoming very, very competitive with their interest rates. So if you're not currently happy with your current bank or credit union and the interest rate that they're offering you right now, then go online, do some searches. You never know what you may find. Or you could go to a credit union. Now, here's another idea. You can do cash in a lockbox. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of that because cash in your home or in your apartment is almost like that donut that you have on your kitchen table and you're just daring yourself not to eat it. You see? So having cash in your house probably isn't the best place to keep your emergency fund because you're more likely to spend it. So that will probably be my last resort. We could also open up a money market account, or we could do a short-term CD. Now, guys, here are 5 options as to where you can keep your emergency fund. But understand this, the idea is to have this money readily available, but not in close sight. That's right. So really what I'm talking about is you should be able to access it on a whim, but you should not be able to see it every single day. You ever heard of the saying, out of sight, out of mind? Well, guess what? If you don't see it, then chances are you're less likely to spend it. Moving on. Okay, so Coach D, I get it. I need to have this emergency fund. I now know how much should be in there. I know where it should be. But what do you think, Coach D? I want to know because I value your opinion. Well, 23% Nation, Coach D loves the idea, right? And let's remember this. Day 2 of the 23% challenge is Money Day. That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have yet to set up your emergency fund, today I want to encourage you to begin planning, guys. Let's begin planning for the next Money Day. And let's go into either our current bank or our current credit union, or pick a different bank or a different credit union. Go in there, open up an account. Now you probably want to do a savings account, okay? And then allow that account to become your emergency fund. So this can be your task for your next Money Day. So ladies and gentlemen, Coach D loves the idea of an emergency fund. And because Coach D loves the idea, guess what? The emergency fund definitely gets the 23% challenge stamp of approval. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all that Coach D has for you today. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. Please comment and ultimately please subscribe. Now, in order to help you comment, right, there is a question of the day, as there is always. So, you ready? Here it comes. Question of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, our question of the day is this. How much money needs to be in your emergency fund? So remember, let's be prepared. Let's go ahead, use the next Money Day, whether it's July 2nd, August 2nd, December 2nd. We never know when it's going to pop up, but we all know that Money Day is the second day of every month. So again, let's address the question. How much money needs to be in your emergency fund? Is it 1,000? Is it 2,000? Is it 5,000? Who knows? But remember, 3 to 8 months worth of living expenses. All right, guys, that's it. Make sure you answer the question. This is Coach D. I'm signing out. And always remember, be blessed, and Coach D loves you.